Our first season in the Champions League went rather well, to be honest. We finished in the top 8 of the new group stage, meaning we actually skipped the playoff round.
Oh, let's go! That's class!
But then Newcastle knocked us out of the round of 16. However, we did qualify for the Champions League again next year.
Get in!
Once again, I upgraded my training facilities. And I asked for more coaches, which the board did accept. Because of our lousy transfer budget, we only welcomed in 2 new players. The first is Ferran Okana from Atletico, a player who can feature up front or on the right hand side, and I decided to pick him up to use him as more of a rotational option. He is good, but he doesn't improve our starting 11. The second player, however, I had to bring in Elia Capriel. He is a phenomenal goalkeeper who instantly becomes our number 1 while weakening Bayer Leverkusen, and he only costs us £9 million because of that clause that we are in the Champions League. We smashed through our round 1 in the Cup 7-0, and we also have started using a new shape. And here in the first match of the Bundesliga against Dortmund, we are going to give it the biggest test. It is a 4-3-3, but Yusufa Moukoko is a pressing forward with 2 inside forwards either side of him, all on support roles with Marjanovic on an attacking Mezzala role. And I'll bet you'll all be down in the comments saying, Luke, leave us a link for this tactic, right? Oh, well, maybe not. To be fair to us though, the first was just an unlucky mix-up as Luca Netz caught a sweet shot. The second, off of a throw-in, was just an unreal strike from their midfielder. And when Nicolas Soule, of all people, is hitting this into the top corner, you know your luck is out. The fourth, granted, was just well worked. Once again, we are given a difficult draw in the DFB Pokal. It's been far too long without you. On to the next game in the league versus Hamburg, and Moukoko gets us underway in the Bundesliga finally. Second half, and Cancellieri's work rate paid off when he secured the win with a second. We were unlucky not to come away with all 3 points when we faced Wolfsburg. With the transfer window closing, we then had a big injury to our starting left back Aranda. But with no time or money left, we just had to accept it, and overall had a very boring transfer window. But let's have a quick update on some of our players. Marjanovic stayed, thankfully, although Bayern Munich are sniffing around him, and Cancellieri's value went through the roof recently, and some interest was shown during the window by Leipzig, but he's still here for now. This could also be a breakout year for Morek, who I think could be great in the defensive midfielder role we are using in our 4-3-3. I've been implementing Vitor Roque as an inside forward on the left, which might slow down his goals and assists, but could be better for the overall team. But all my praise is going to Moukoko at the minute. Even though he's scoring loads and playing well, every week he is putting in the best performances in training. Our Champions League games are very even this year, with maybe a tricky end, but I think we can get a good account of ourselves in the competition. But the board expectation is to stay in the Champions League. They have us qualifying in this competition as a strict requirement for this season. In September, we also have the Berlin Derby to look forward to as well. After winning our league fixture comfortably, it was a trip to Italy where Juventus awaited us, although we did pull a goal back to make it 1-1 through Diamonde. Juve then flexed their strength and opened up a healthy lead early in the second half, and we ended up losing the opening game of the Champions League season 4-1. Dusseldorf has always been a bogey team for us during this series, but it was Moukoko who I had to thank for making sure we weren't on the end of another loss when he scored yet another hat-trick. The guy was fantastic, always trying to break the lines of the defense using his pace, and his finishing was lethal. And before you know it, it was Derby Day. And it was Omoragic who scored the first. Then he got the second. Vitor Roque picked up the third. Ivanovic then got a fourth from another free kick before Hertha grabbed a consolation goal in injury time. Although Vitor Roque put us down to 10 men with the most outrageous challenge ever, he did receive a straight red card and also a round of applause from myself and the coaching staff. Up the Berlin. F you Hertha Berlin.
If I speak, I am in big trouble.
We ended the month with a 2-1 win against Lugano, which doesn't look good on paper, but we did have 28 shots. We were just shooting like stormtroopers. And then we lost to Bayer Leverkusen. The 13 points we have accumulated so far puts us just outside the top 6 as we move into October. We were treated to yet another Moukoko hat-trick against Werder Bremen in a 6-1 victory, which was the perfect way to bounce back after a bad result. And we are on fire as we go to Amsterdam and defeat Ajax 3-1. After Marjanovic scored the only goal of the game with a fantastic strike against Augsburg. Our little mini winning streak came to an end in the second round of the cup. We also held Bayern to a 0-0 draw though. Moukoko has bagged 13 goals so far in 15 games, but we are once again picking up injuries and long-term injuries again with our attacking threats on the wing. However, that did not slow us down at all. We beat Olympiacos 2-0. Then Moukoko scored both goals in the away game against Leipzig. Diamonde scored 2 from the left-hand side in Vitor Roque's absence in a 3-0 win against Mainz. And with one more Champions League win and another 2 wins in the Bundesliga, our perfect month of November has done wonders for us, as we currently sit in second only in goal difference to Dortmund after 14 games, and 4th in the Champions League phase. Our winning run was finally ended against Gladbach when former target Satriano equalised within 10 minutes of Moukoko's opener. Can we chalk up another hat-trick for Mr. Moukoko, please, because he absolutely destroyed Besiktas to the point where his third goal, the Besiktas midfielders are actually passing the ball to him. He then scored the only goal against Stuttgart, but then he took a rest against Bayer Leverkusen. Those results did see Dortmund create a bit of a gap, but also saw us level at the top with PSG in the Champions League phase. And remember, we only spent £20 million this summer. In January, we say goodbye to a legend of the series, Jordan Sierbatche. Good lord, that guy was decent at heading. We also say goodbye to our now backup goalkeeper, Kovacevic. A bargain signing, really, that's no longer needed at the club thanks to Caprillo's arrival. And finally, Laszlo Farkas has his release clause activated by Cologne and has also left the club. But there has been some new arrivals. Austrian defender Jasic. He's the perfect inverted wingback, left-footed right back from Salzburg, and we brought him in for 17 million. We also paid £1 million for the Slovakian striker Janasic, who will help out in the attacking forefront in the youth academy as he's only 18, but he does look fantastic. In January, we beat HSV and Darmstadt. We also lost to Dortmund and Wolfsburg and Barcelona and Arsenal. Unfortunately, that meant we dropped out of the top 8 and had to play a playoff, where we were drawn against Olympique Lyon. And in the first leg, we took the advantage when Moukoko turned provider for Cancellieri. But it's the Berlin derby time, and a win puts us level with Dortmund and keeps Hertha firmly in the relegation zone. However, with both Tyler Adams and Vitor Roque suspended, we do have to play a rotated team. And remember how we applauded the red card in the early Berlin derby that happened this season? Well, that was in the last minute, and Victor Nelson felt left out, and he decided to do it on the 30th minute. And that was at 0-0 in the away leg. Fortunately though, Cancellieri still gave us the lead, and then Moukoko doubled it just after half-time. A corner led to Ivanovic making it 3, and Moukoko scored a free kick to make it 4-0. Come on, man! That's too easy. We carried on that momentum and put us into the round of 16 in the Champions League. And then into a 2-1 win over Bayern Munich, who did equalise in the second half through Gnabry and give us a bit of a scare using his pace, but it was our Serbian maestro who bagged the winner against the club who have been scouting him all season. Unlucky. We strolled past Bayer Leverkusen and went into the Champions League tie against Freiburg. Well, fair play to them reaching this point. We win the first leg 1-0. What a month February was, by the way. March began with our second leg where we breezed past Freiburg into the quarterfinals of the Champions League, where amongst Europe's elite, we have Manchester United waiting for us.
I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
After a loss to Augsburg and a win to Werder Bremen, we sit in third place with a game in hand, which will only put us 3 points behind Bayern Munich in first. But it's tight up there with 5th place Wolfsburg only a point behind us. However, this is where it all tailed off, because Moukoko got an injury for the rest of the season.
You're having a laugh! You're having a laugh!
Some good news though, I guess, as Morek won top spot in the Next Gen Award, which I was actually quite shocked to see. We even had 4 players in the top 50, and 2 of them have come through our youth academy. Hey, I don't really rate them a lot at all, but I don't really do the voting, so I'll take it. We hung on for a draw against Leipzig after they were awarded a second-half penalty to equalise. And the only win of the month came from this 5-3 win against Freiburg with a Diamonde hat-trick. I haven't mentioned him much this season, but he's still here and he's playing a big part. And the other 3 games, well, I'd rather just not talk about it.
My eyes are bleached.
Over to the Champions League quarter-finals, and United took the lead when Anthony found Bruno Fernandes. We equalised 2 minutes later at Old Trafford through our magician Marjanovic, but this is where United showed their experience in this tournament over many decades and scored a second and a third. We did pop up with a second ourselves though through Sekou Koita and probably should have shut up shop for the second leg, but we ended up conceding the fourth from Diaby. And our Champions League run was ended when we couldn't fight back against United in the second leg, with Rashford scoring 4. Just 2 games to go in the league, and although the title race is clearly over, we are still in control over the top 4 spots. And a match against third place Cologne brought back the spirit in the club, and Vitor Roque scored in 3 minutes from Marjanovic's through ball. And the lead was doubled and the game was won when Vitor Roque was tackled and the ball fell to Marjanovic, who scored himself. And the final match we confirmed, Champions League football with a 2-0 away win against Stuttgart with goals from Marjanovic and Cancellieri. So once again, we finish in 3rd place and only 10 points behind Bayern Munich, who, no surprise, are champions again. Hilariously though, it's a goodbye to Hertha Berlin for another season, who are relegated with only 16 points. But next season we have £30 million to spend. It's still not a lot. And I just can't help but wonder what would have happened if Yusufa Moukoko didn't get injured. Well, hopefully we can find out next season. Make sure you smash a like and make sure you're subscribed. And if it is out, I'll pop it up on screen. I'll see you soon.